Good evening, everyone. I'm really glad we are here today for a special interaction with all India rankers of NIFT 2025. I believe this session will be guiding and inspirational for all of us. I, Prerna Nahar, on behalf of Baba Rathod Design Studio, is here to present two of our exceptional achievers, Bhakti Thakkar, All India Rank 3, and Mrugnani Doshi, All India Rank 6. To start with, I would request Bhakti and Mrugnani to introduce themselves. Starting with Bhakti, how are you, dear?
Good evening, ma'am. I'm doing well.
Yeah, please introduce yourself. How are you feeling being in NIFT and everything? Yes.
I am currently in NIFT Mumbai and I started my college around 2 months ago and it's going really well. Nift is not what I expected it to be, it's everything that I wanted. And I took humanities in 11th grade and I was all about Nift. So it's really amazing to get what I wanted.
Great. Mrugnani, what about you?
Good evening, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, ma'am. Like Bhakti said, NFT has been what I've wanted to, uh, what I've wanted since the longest time. I have never imagined myself doing anything else. Like Bhakti, I was also a humanities student, and I'm at NFT Delhi, and it has been everything I wanted and more.
Okay. Great.
That's all I can say.
Yeah. So, this session is not just about listening, it's about asking and learning also directly from someone who has walked the path you are on. So, if you have any doubts, you want to ask anything that can help you in achieving your dreams, please do ask in the chat box. I have prepared a small presentation. So, firstly, I will ask some of the questions from both of them. If any question you also want to ask, please drop in the chat box. I'll be happy to ask them. If you want to address also Bhakti question, definitely you can do. Mrugnani question, definitely you can do if you want to ask that question to specific person. Okay. So yeah, starting with how is it to be in NIFT and living your dream? Bhakti, as you said, this is very exceptional that you are there. So how are you feeling overall?
I'm feeling overwhelmed seeing everybody surrounded by everyone who has the same dream as yours is very inspirational. I get to learn a lot from my seniors as well. So it's a really completely different environment and it has been helping me a lot.
Okay. So Mrugnani, how are your studies going on at NIFT?
They're going well. There is a little bit of workload, and the grind is a little hard to get used to. But once you're set, you're completely set. You're in that direction, and it's all going fine.
Okay. So what inspired you to choose designing? There are a lot many options available. Designing is something very few people know. So Bhakti, what inspired you to do designing, pursue your career in designing?
I remember that I was in ninth grade and I do have an elder sister. So I remember doing projects for her because she was in 12th grade. So that's how I got into the art and craft field in general. And then I researched and I found that designing is a complete entire field that you can work into. And in 11th grade, I joined BRDS to get into my dream.
Okay. So you were there in BRS for 2 years.
Yes.
Okay. And what about you, Mrugnani? What inspired you to
For
choose design?
for me, I have been drawing ever since I could hold a pencil. And since a very young age, I knew I wanted to do something art related. And then when you grow up, you realize that design is a completely different field in itself. And that's when fashion came into perspective, and I wanted to do fashion.
Okay. So fashion was all your dream.
Yeah.
Seeing your hair and everything, your background, like something relatable. So, looking back at the entrance process, how would you describe the experience of NIFT entrance exam 2025, the paper and everything, Bhakti? How was it?
It might be scary because uh, I would. personally, my NID exam didn't go very well. So Nift was all I could focus on. So it was clear that I have to get this. I have to go through this. So it was scary for me, especially the preliminary round. During the situation test, it got much easier. But when I was giving the theory exam, the GAT was before and then was the CAT. So in GAT, it was all very stressful. And all I could think was, I have to do this. I have to get this done.
Correct. So this is like last thing that you want to do it. And what about you, Mrugnani?
So, I, if you had to ask me on any day, I would say I have loved every moment of the exam. It puts you in such a discipline, and it gets your mindset going. And once you're in the grind, it is a very organized way of doing things. So you wake up, you prepare, you um, puts you in a very good discipline. So for me, it helped me a lot to discipline my life as well. And like Bhakti said, the GAT exam comes before the CAT exam. So I was never particularly great at math, and so that exam scared me a little. And then I was like, I can't let that exam affect how I do my CAT exam. And I didn't do it. I was pretty good in my CAT exam, so I loved every moment of it.
Okay, great. GAT is a little bit difficult also because MCQ part first time you are giving the exam, so it sometimes you get that panic situation over there. So, Mrugnani, how did you find the paper? It was easy, moderate, or difficult? How would you say? How was the paper of NIFT 2025?
I think for me it was easy, but it also depends on how well you prepared for the exam. If you know your content in and out, then there is no way you can call that paper difficult.
Mhm. Okay. So, the general ability test covers multiple areas like quant, communication, analytical reasoning. So, how did you prepare for these sections? As you said, it was difficult. Bhakti, as you said, that starting it was difficult because these three, four section is very difficult. You don't get used to in all your academic years. So, how you prepared for it?
So, for mathematics, basically, I used to practice questions every day. I would also solve the Nift PG papers because the maths level in Nift PG is much harder compared to the UG exams. So, it helped me in speed, it increased my speed and solving and getting used to GK. The Nift GK is very theoretical and it is you need to memorize everything in the Nift GK. So I would suggest to start GK early and not wait for the last moment because GK will need a lot of time.
Okay.
So yeah.
So GK is all about current affairs. So if you are connected with it, definitely it can be easy. What like how you say that, Mrugnani? So the GAT part, how did you prepare for each of these sections?
I basically filtered out all the chapters for maths that were difficult for me, and I did not focus much on them. I tried to instead put in all those hours that I would put in that into my CAT exam. So I try to better my drawing. I try to better my creative ability. And then GK again, like Bhakti said, it is very unpredictable. कोई भी question कहीं से भी आ सकता है. And so I started reading the newspaper since 1 or 2 years before I had to actually give the exam. And there's a lot of material online also. Uh, so I refer to those. And for the logical analytical part, the BRDS pamphlets that they provide, they're very helpful because the more you do those questions, the better you get at it.
You understand the concept and it becomes easy. So you read
Yes,
newspaper,
ma'am.
newspaper, everyone. It is very, very important. That is the only way you can, memorize things. Otherwise, to learn the part, it is very difficult. I know. So, how much time did you allocate it to creative sketching versus the GAT part, Bhakti?
So I would in GAT I would try to solve minimum of 30 questions of maths per day, keeping a time limit of an hour. And for cat, because my maths was weaker, I used to focus on that. And for cat, what I would do was work on my ideations rather than making perfect drawings every day. So what I did during the end was we had the Nift mock tests in BRDS classes also. So I used to solve the mock test in class and then I used to come home, and for those very same questions I used to make other ideas. I used to ideate other answers, and then I would think more rather than just sketching all the time. I would rather focus on the ideation also.
Okay. So what basically helped you in working the whole ideation thing, doing the questions, and after, like, before that, like, did you practice anything, going out, taking pictures,
Yes.
putting on paper, what you did exactly?
Live sketching helped me a lot, and I do remember my teacher in BRDS used to ask us to show him 100 sketches per day. So
Oh,
in the beginning, I personally couldn't even complete 50 sketches a
yeah.
single day, but I used to try to do as many as I could. I used to stay awake entire night just to show him the next day. Day by day, my speed increased in sketching. So I think sketching every day helped me a lot. At the same time, it's not just about the drawing. Your ideas need to be different from what others are doing, also.
Yeah, and Bhakti, how you worked on your ideas, because that is the because you work more and more on the CAT part, as you said before. So how
Yeah.
you worked with the whole idea part, ideation, what practice did you do?
I used to solve PYQs even before the mock tests began in the BRDS classrooms. I
Okay.
used to do PYQs, and like I said, even I used to solve the Nift PG papers also. This
Hmm.
paper pattern was kind of similar, not exactly similar, but many questions were similar to what UG papers was. So I used to try to do as many questions as I could.
Okay, great. And what about you, Mrugnani? So, as you focus more on CAT part only, so how you worked on your ideation, creativity, what exercise did you do?
I basically I attended the regular BRDS classes, and whatever sir made us do in class, I used to go back and I would revise that and come up with four or five different ideations of the same question. This helps you filter out the questions that usually people would initially go for, and so it opens your mind to a lot of other ideas, and that is essentially what out of the box ideas mean. So to filter out all the surface level ideas, I used to sit and ideate, and like Bhakti said, not like making perfect sketches, but making lots of sketches and going for the idea that no one would choose.
Okay, so that is the way, different ideas, different things. Okay, so Mrugnani, considering negative marking as a factor, how did you plan and attempt your questions accordingly? Because negative marking is there in the MCQ part. So how did you do that? What was your strategy?
uh, there is this technique called question batching, which is basically, and when you're giving the NIFT exam, there's options where you can come to a question later which you feel like you have a guess about, but you're not certain for sure. And so I practiced batching, where the questions I was sure about I selected, then I went back to the questions which I was unsure about or a little sure about, and then I went to questions which I knew nothing about. So even in those, the ones I knew nothing about, if मुझे बीच में if I found something that I knew, I would select it, and something I was completely clueless or blank about, I left.
You left because negative marking is there, so you have to leave if you're not very much sure about it. So, what about you, Bhakti? In the exam, to decide which question to attempt first, leave, how much time you would spend on a question. So, how you planned your GAT in the
So
exam?
I started off with the math section because if you can't do maths, the other sections are more of theory. You can just read and answer. But in maths, you need time to solve those questions as well. And I would if I didn't know an answer, I would try it twice or thrice. And if I still couldn't get the answer, I would just leave it or leave it for review so that I could come back later, like Nurmay said. So it was because it was as a visually colored, the purple question, it was purple. I remember, still remember, and it would at the end I would be like, do I know this? If I was sure, then only I would answer it. But if I was unsure, I would not take the risk. I would rather leave it than go for negative.
Yeah, that is more better way in the whole negative section part. So, were you able to manage time well and complete the paper within the time duration, Mrugnani? So, within the time, you were able to complete everything, the question, the GAT, CAT part?
Yes, ma'am. I was able to finish my GAT a little before the time, minute 20 minutes before the time limit is over. I finished my GAT exam. And when it came to CAT, of course, you'll have like finishing touches to put in to all of your questions, right? So I completed just when they were about to take the paper.
Okay. What about you, Bhakti? It was like okay, paper was okay, it was not lengthy, it was like time was minimal, given appropriate timing was there.
Mine was completely opposite to what Mrunmay had. I finished my GAT early and I had
Okay.
time to just sit and relax. But I complete my GAT on time, and for CAT I had time to just sit and relax. I finished my CAT in 2 hours and had 1 hour to just do the final touches. ऐसे आराम आराम से. But for GAT I took the entire 3 hours to solve the paper.
Okay. So GAT was something difficult for you. Yeah. Okay. So when we conduct the mock test, BRDS used to conduct the mock test and revision sessions before the exam. How useful it was for you in in improving your speed, accuracy, confidence before the exam. Because we used to keep this exam so that it works in your time management basically. You know what you know. If you don't know, also you leave. But your time management here is very very important in exam. So did it help you, Bhakti, in the exam hall?
Yes, the first mock test that I gave in BRDS, I could not complete the paper, and I still remember that I was crying, even though it was just a mock test. But slowly, the mock tests helped me to increase my speed, and it could mentally also help me. So, like, how much time to give to each question. It helped me to plan out my question paper, and because our paper pattern was similar to 2024 paper pattern, it was easier for me to manage time. Talking about accuracy, the questions, the type of questions helped me a lot. There was varied amount of questions. Each paper had a different style of question. So it helped me increase my thinking.
Okay. And what about you, Mrugnani? So, improving your speed, accuracy, and confidence, was mock test helpful? Mock test, revision sessions, everything.
Yes, ma'am. My experience was pretty similar to Bhakti. The first exam I was not able to finish, and that because I've been preparing for the exam for 2 years. During my 11th and 12th, I was very freaked out by this because you think you know, and then you can't finish the paper. It scares you.
Correct.
But it provided a variety of questions, which again improves your thinking and helps you come up with a lot of ideas. And again, I would go back home and then I would ideate more and more on the kind of questions that were asked in the paper. And so, apart from the PYQs, also they give you like an added bunch of questions that you practice before the test. So
Mhm.
it
So,
helped me a lot to open up my mind to other possibilities.
okay. So, how you think that consistent practice helped you? Because you were consistent for 2 years, you both were. So, practicing, managing your 12th also together. So, what score did you got in your 12th, Bhakti? What score you had in your boards?
So I scored 97 percentage in CBSE board.
Okay,
And
that's great. That's great.
so in 11th grade, it was all about building my foundation. And I started solving all the papers and solving properly the theory in 12th grade. 11th was just about drawing and learning the basics. And in 12th, it was applying that in problem solving.
Correct. Foundation program, I also say student that this is one of the best program where you understand each and everything from very basic. So yeah, and what about you, Mrugnani?
I scored 80% in CBSE board humanities. Uh, Similar to Bhakti, foundation year is very helpful because it helps you go back to basics and learn everything on an in-depth level. And so it helps you improve all like basic things like line practice or amount of time you take to draw something. So
Correct. Your time management. Uh, when you do the foundation course, definitely you practice more and more drawing, because drawing is something which will take time. The GAT part, if you know, you know. If you don't know, you have to skip or you have to move. So drawing is something which will take time. So talking about time management and everything, how you managed your 12th with BRDS with the entrance exam, Rugnani?
I used to attend regular classes at BRDS whenever they had them, and then on Sundays, I remember we had GAT classes. And because I didn't get as much time during the week, I would sit at BRDS on weekends rather than on weekdays for practice. So that is how it helped me to just sit and get into the environment. And because the faculty is always present there, we were able to ask them questions if we ever had any doubts.
Yeah, so 10 to 7, 10 to 8 faculties are there. You can sit and practice. So, Bhakti, how did you find the BRDS study material, faculty guidance, and overall class environment?
It was really helpful. The material is very helpful. It helps in build the foundation. Other than the questions, there are many things out there that also help. But I feel like the BRDS material is what will help you start. So, and coming to faculty, I really enjoyed working with my sir. He used to criticize, but he used to it would be positive criticism. And the classroom environment was very helpful. It was like motivating. All my friends, even though if you're scoring less than other people, it would never feel like you're inferior. They would always help you out. And the classroom discussions that we used to have, the group discussions, the ideation, the brainstorming, it really helps you to understand what other people might think in that same question, so it helps you understand that there are more ways of solving that same question. So it's not just about sticking to one path, but diverging.
Correct, correct. And what about you, Rugnani? BRDS study material, faculty, and overall class environment. I used to see you here only at BRDS.
Mm.
So you used to be a regular student, as you said. I have seen you many times here. So tell us about the study material and everything. A topic, the reason for asking about the study material, because if you read the study material thoroughly, definitely you can crack, because every content is there inside. If you complete it once, then you can use the other material, but we are just important for everyone. So tell us, Nurnani, about your experience.
The study material was definitely very helpful because, like I said, by practicing more and more, you know the content in and out. Especially when it comes to the PYQs, the more you, it has papers from dating to the past 10 years. So it is essentially all you need to prepare for CAT, and that is what helped me the most. Talking about faculty interactions, like Bhakti said, we had a lot of interactive sessions with our faculty, and uh, it diversifies your mind and your thinking capacity because, like she mentioned, the classroom discussions are very encouraging to think, if I think about a certain question this way, someone else thinks this way, and it also gives you like a library of different possibilities to the same kind of question. So again, it's about diverging.
There will. And Bhakti also said about criticism. So sometimes criticism is good, so that you yourself improve that. Where if the faculty will always say you कि नहीं अच्छा ही है, so you will never improve yourself. So criticism is
Mhm.
sometimes very, very important and necessary. So looking back, Bhakti, were there any mistake you made that you feel other aspirants should avoid? Any mistake in this 2 year journey, or practicing the whole paper, or anything? Any mistake you feel like?
I started my GAT really late. I started it during October, September, and October. If I could go back in time, I would start it early, especially the GK part. it needs time. There is a lot of base to cover. It's in NID GK, the GK is subjective, so you can clear it out. But for Nift, you need to work on it, you need to memorize. And mathematics is also more difficult in Nift, so you need to practice that a lot.
Okay. And Rubeni, same questions. What mistakes you did and you want others to be aware of, be cautious about it, other aspirants?
I feel like after 10th grade, I did not touch a math textbook ever in my life. And so getting back to the grind of learning mathematics was a whole difficult process. And so I would, if I could go back in time, I would stick to maths. I would stick to doing maths every single day so I don't lose my touch to it, so that I know maths, because GAT was very difficult for me only because of the maths part. GK के लिए I prepared around 800 questions. उसमें से सिर्फ एक आया, which was which was, again, it's very subjective, कुछ भी आ सकता है. So I would not depend on GK for marks. But then again, maths has a very, the amount of maths they can ask is very limited. So I would try to go back in time and get to it early.
Okay. तो जो GAT बात मैथ्स जब भी इंक्वायरी भी आती है दे आर वेरी स्कैर्ड कि मैथ्स कितना आएगा, अगर कम आएगा तो वी आर गुड टू गो, बट अगर मैथ्स ज्यादा आएगा तो वी डोंट वांट टू स्टडी मैथ्स. So maths is something everyone is scared of. So many students struggle with confidence and stress. Exam pressure hota hai because you have your boards just 1 month after, and you have these exams, the entrance exam before that. तो थोड़ा स्ट्रेसफुल हो जाता है, नहीं हुआ तो क्या करेंगे, इतने साल प्रिपरेशन को दिए या इतने महीने भी दिए. सो हाउ यू मैनेज्ड इट? एंड दिस पेपर बाय द वे NIFT पेपर इज इन हिंदी एंड इंग्लिश बोथ लैंग्वेजेस. तो हिंदी में भी आता है, इंग्लिश में भी आता है. इफ योर क्वेश्चन इज यू कैन रीड द हिंदी पार्ट एज वेल. So how you struggle with the like confidence and stress and everything, how you managed that, Bhakti?
So what I did was I did not study for my boards at all because I focused on Nift. So for boards I only focused after my entrance were ended. So before my Nift exam, I was really focused on Nift, and I tried not to think about the board ka pressure because, to be honest, board ke marks don't matter in college. So, and coming to the day before the exam, I personally did not do anything. I slept and I ate chocolates, a lot of chocolates, to make myself feel better. So, to make yourself calm on the day of the exam, I would prefer not to do anything before the exam that would make me feel stressed. Because if I'm doing last minute preparations, फिर मेरे को ऐसा लगेगा I don't know anything. उससे अच्छा है कुछ मत करो. एग्जाम के एक दिन पहले just relax, calm yourself, and be mentally prepared to face the paper next day, and be confident on yourself. You worked hard for 2 years. Be confident in yourself, and आपको सब आता है. सिर्फ on the day of the exam you're just nervous. So meditation, the 15 minutes before the paper starts, you just have to sit in front of the screen and do nothing. So I meditated and I was calming myself down because all I could think was that I can do this. I've worked hard for this.
Correct. So if you spoil, if your NID, UC paper is also not good, then also NIFT, you can still be hopeful. And last interaction also I had with All India rank holders for IITs. So they also said me the same thing, that for 12th we kept the book aside, for we focused more for 3-4 months only on the entrance exam. And once the entrance exam were over, and then again we started studying for the 12th grade, because 2-3 months if you give thoroughly to this preparation, definitely you can crack. So Mrugnani, so what about you, the exam pressure, like, how you dealt with it?
Since I was a very young child, I've been subjected to quite a lot of anxiety surrounding exams.
Okay.
And first, so because of that, I tried to first get rid of all the anxiety that I feel surrounding it. I A week before the exam, I started before the situation test, I started making models at the same time of the exam timings. That would help me get into a sort of routine, and it helped me. Uh, so it was like any other day for me. I only had to do it in another setting, but it was like any other day for me. I tried to normalize it so much in my head that इसमें तो क्या है, ये तो कुछ भी
हो
नहीं ऐसे.
जाएगा.
And like Bhakti said, the moments before the exam, it's just closing your eyes and thinking I can do it, and chanting your prayers and just hoping for the best, because you've done your bit. इससे आगे कुछ कर नहीं सकते, चिंता से कोई फायदा नहीं होगा. So just be
Correct.
confident. You've prepared and you know it all. You're going to nail it. That's all.
That's all. Be calm. That is the key to success now. And what would be your advice to them on how to stay motivated, positive? Though sometimes what you feel is you know everything, but then too you are scared about that what kind of questions will come. और initial हम दो चार questions पढ़ लेते हैं और फिर ऐसा लगता है कि ये तो हमें नहीं आ रहे हैं, तो हमारा पूरा पेपर स्पॉइल हो जाता है बात का, because we have this negative in our mind कि अभी चार questions नहीं आ रहे तो आगे के भी नहीं आए तो. So you also have faced this kind of thing before your mock test, yeah, at the time of the exam. So how you dealt with it कि तीन चार questions नहीं समझ में आ रहे, fourth पे आ गई, अब तो मतलब क्या? So मृगनयनी कैसे मतलब manage किया? ऐसी situation आई होगी, I'm sure, कि दो तीन straight GAT के questions नहीं पता पड़ रहे, you left, you move forward, and then you realize कि नहीं कैसे motivated रहना है. So how you manage that?
I Because I wanted to feel confident about the subject, I started with the English part and then I went to GK because those were my strongest suits. And so
Okay.
I was like, from my best subject to my worst subject. That's the pattern I followed. So I could allocate more time to the stuff I knew, and then again, question batching. It helps you filter out whatever you know and what you don't know.
Okay.
Uh, and CAT में तो ऐसा नहीं हुआ, but situation test में I remember I used to so my like the method I used to follow was I used to start writing my concept note, and I used to ideate my idea. I used to write my concept note and then I would make the model. This entire the concept note and the ideating part would take like 10 minutes, and then I would start making my model. But on the day of the exam, it took me 30 minutes to just ideate and make my model. And on that day, I was questioning everything in my life. Ki, oh my God, did the last 2 years of my life just go to waste? Am I going to be able to crack this or not? And then the same thought followed कि नहीं यार, I've done my bit, मैं और कुछ नहीं कर सकती हूँ. I just have to uh, I just have to get in touch with all that I've done, all the advice teachers have given me, all the advice that people I've talked to have given me, and I have to move forward with it. I can't freak out in this moment. I have done my bit and I'm going to clear it. That's all you have to think about.
You had that positive mindset with you, and this is not the end of your life. So yeah, you
Yes, ma'am.
have done you have done whatever it took. And what about you, Bhakti? It happened with you also? दो चार question नहीं आए and then you panicked and then you thought कि calm down, आएगा आएगा.
So I started with my math section because I knew I would take time to solve the questions. So instead of panicking at the end and like solving it fast and getting the wrong answer, I tried to solve it pehle. And then I went to English and the logical ability, and then GK because GK was my weakest. एंड इन कैट आई वुड सजेस्ट कि आजू बाजू मत देखो, दूसरे लोगों का काम मत देखो. यू फील अंडर कॉन्फिडेंट एंड देन यू स्टार्ट क्वेश्चनिंग योर ओन वर्क. एंड टू बी ऑनेस्ट टाइम भी नहीं मिलेगा, बट try to focus on your work rather than comparing what the person next to you is doing. And for situation test, I did not have time to finish my model as well. End mein everything was very hurried. I had to pack everything up because in the situation test they also asked to clear our tables before the examiners came, and we had to do that in 2 hours only. They cleared.
Okay.
So
Okay.
in situation test, you have to work faster, and the comfort that you have in the classroom or at your home when you're practicing, you won't get that in the exam center. So be mentally prepared. We had a small table and there were two people on the same table, so it was a sharing table, and on that you have to make a model, you have to work with paper, glue, threads. So be aware of the time because sometimes classrooms don't even have a clock.
Oh,
So
they don't have. Yes, yes.
yes.
In some of the tests they had, but in some of they had not. So yeah,
And watches are also not allowed in the situation test. So you have to practice every day situation test के लिए especially to increase your speed.
correct. Situation test. So after clearing level one, level two is situation test, 3D model making. So they will give you limited material, and from that limited material, you have to make a 3D model. And within some time, you have to complete it, and it's really tough. The crafting work you did before, and in the exam, it is entirely different. A lot of ideation and everything. So to wrap up, what key tips and final message would you like to convey to upcoming Nift aspirants so that they can score well? Bhakti.
So, because CAT has the majority of weightage, focus on your drawing and your ideation the most, but don't neglect the other parts because GAT also has 30% of weightage, and that is a lot because even point ka mark can make a difference in your rank. So, don't just focus on one, try to focus on both the parts of the preliminary exam because situation test does have weightage, but if you don't clear the preliminary round, it makes no sense. So focus on your CAT as well as GAT.
Balance both. And in the GAT part, as both of them did, is what they liked the best, they attempted first, and what their negative part was there, they attempted last. So you can also work like that if you want to. And to wrap up, same question to you, Mrugnani, as well. So please give
Agreeing,
final message to NIFT aspirants.
agreeing to what Bhakti said, I was 13 or 14 days before the exam. I was freaking out कि maths में तो मुझे कुछ आता ही नहीं है. And then I thought कि 70% CAT है and 30% GAT है. So these marks I have in my hand. These marks देखते हैं क्या होता है. So I realized that and I started working. Don't think, just start working. And you have prepared for 2 years or 1 year, and you have allotted that time to this field of work. So don't freak out. That is not going to help anywhere. Try to come up with your own style of working because essentially what they're looking for is a difference in style, something out of the box, something that no one has done. That is their filtering process. And so when you come up with your own ideas or your own way of working, that is something unique. So stick to your idea, stick to originality, and of course look at references, but don't copy because that's not going to help anywhere.
Copying will not work. In the design part, copying will not work. So yeah, focus, practice more, and you can, if you right now also planning to, be in an IFT and ID, you are not late. You can start preparing right now also because there are many students who do the crash course and they crack. But it depends on your speed and your practice, definitely how you are doing it. And whatever your strong part is, whatever your weak part is, work on it. You can definitely make wonders. Now we will be taking student questions because there are many questions asked by the students. Aditi Samant is asking, hello ma'am, question for Bhakti. So how did you prepare for GK current affairs? What material to refer to? Also, can you roughly share your study routine? Thank you.
So for GK, I used a book of Arihant, the GK book of Arihant. So it has a lot of static as well as the current affairs. Other than that, I used to solve quizzes on the India Big site for GK. And there are YouTube channels of UPSC exam that also cover GK. So they have a more detailed, but you can just go through them if you have the time. Talking about my routine, I would say I did not have a routine because it would all depend on how my day was going. So, because I did not go to any extra classes for my school subjects, I used to go to school every day. So, in the school only, I used to finish all my school work, sub school ki padhai, boards ke liye, everything would happen in school. I did not give time for my school studies outside the school hours. After I used to come home, I used to take some rest and I used to work as a TV देखते देखते I would work on ideation or just normal daily sketches. The like my sir asked us, we used to do 100 sketches every day. So just TV pe what I could see, I would draw. Then 4 o'clock onwards, I used to go to BRDS. We had groups discussions. We used to do live sketches in BRDS for humans, and we used to do posters. We used to do ideations. We used to talk to our faculty members and discuss our ideas. After I came back from BRDS and had my dinner, रात को I would work on my theory. And if you can't work theory रात को, like बहुत नींद आ रही है, तो I used to work early morning before my school, especially for maths because maths में I needed ऐसा a clear mind to work to. And I also, other than the BRDS theory classes, we used to do maths in the BRDS classes. If I had doubts, I would personally talk to the teacher in the BRDS who used to teach us. I took his phone number and I used to text him. I used to ask him doubts whenever I had them. And even in school, I would talk to my school maths teachers who used to teach me in ninth and 10th grade. So I used to clear my doubts when I had them. I would not wait for them to teach me.
Okay. Yeah, that's also very helpful. So interview round is not there in NIFT. If you can also read any question, Rugnani, which you want to answer, Bhakti, please. Hmm. Which design, Rugnani, are you studying? Gurnur
I'm studying fashion design.
fashion designing. And what about you, Bhakti?
I'm pursuing fashion communication.
Fashion communication. Uh, so Mrugnani, what they practiced for CAT themselves as a daily routine, what they did for idea generation. Mrugnani?
I'm sorry, ma'am, I couldn't hear you.
Okay.
Could
So,
you please repeat the question?
yes, what they practiced for CAT as themselves as a daily routine, what they did for idea generation. You said it before, but right now also Sanchi wants to know.
So, what helped me most was, of course, attending regular classes and ideating, sitting to ideate after hours. But what helps most is solving previous year questions. That is one thing that I cannot say enough. The more you solve papers, the more there is already a set blueprint in your head कि ऐसा type का question आएगा तो I have to do it this way. And so that helps you. So the amount of time you would spend on a question, you avoid all that time, and you can already you have because you have that blueprint in your head, you can directly put it on paper. You don't have to think about it more. So
And
that is how
you.
CAT में I prepared.
Okay. And Mrugnani, do you remember your question for the situation test? The rough idea students wants to know that was the question and what you made.
Um, so we had two questions. One was for one was for space design. It was create a futuristic 3D model of a sports complex. Uh, and then I don't remember the other two subtopics. And then the second question was create a 3D model of either based on your favorite story, a children's play park, a living habitat for one of the characters, or again one of the subtopics I don't remember. I chose the children's play park based on the Panchatantra tales.
Acha.
And I added, and just the night before I was revising certain. So NIFT is known for loving the Panchatantra tales. They've asked this question a number of times in the PYQs, and so I was like, I should do this. And I memorized the characters, I memorized the stories, and according to that, I added elements in my play parks. We were given like 17 to 18 materials to work with, and उसमें से I use them. So I created a monkey bar, and then over the monkey bars, I created two silhouettes of swans. And उसके नीचे I made a clay का tortoise, which was just it was on the surface of the floor. Then I created a tree and I created a hunter sleeping nature.
Mhm.
We would also provided a net sheet
Okay.
which I utilized as a hammock which children can climb on. And then in the middle, I created a well-like object, and we were given metallic plates. So I cut those and I put them in, so it acted like a reflective surface.
Okay.
And one of the stories of the Panchatantra tales is also of the lion and the rabbit. And so I created bunny ears and the silhouette of a lion looking over the well.
Okay.
And then as my last character, I created a blue jackal. There's like this thing that goes aage piche uh, in children's parks, and so I created that blue jackal.
Okay.
One thing I would say is if you're working with clay, try to use clay in the last, because the kind of clay they provide is oil-based clay. So if you start with it, it will stain your sheets and stain your hands, and so it'll be very hard to work with. You'll have to wash your hands, and it'll waste your time. I used it last time and I realized it is a problem, and so that is one thing you should keep in mind.
Okay. And Bhakti, how important is to color our sketches? Is color better than the simple pencil shading?
Yes, the Nift grading system is very different from what NID has. NID is about ideation, but in Nift they want clarity, they want the aesthetics. So using a colors is much more preferred, and make sure that your design is detailed and that you're not leaving as a very messy. I
Okay.
remember one of my professors here at Nift Mumbai, we had this question, the third question, where he had to create a box of 3 by 3 squares, and then we had to make a pattern. I remember him telling that he used to measure the squares also. If they were not perfect squares, he's very strict. And if they were like rectangular, even like half-inch ka difference, he would not check the answer at all. He would just deduct marks. So make sure that you're reading the questions properly also, because they do check it very thoroughly, and making it beautiful is also very necessary.
Okay. Okay. So, and the rendering thing you did with liners or pencils, what you use, the
I
rendering?
used color pencils. I used the color pencils for my rendering.
Okay. Inayat, I want to ask, what about the history? Okay. Mrugnani, I want to ask, what about history do we need to study for that? And if yes, then from where? The history part in the question. You can study it from where?
Um, GK, don't depend on GK for marks would be my first advice, because even we got asked very different and very unknown history questions. And then I talked to one of my seniors and she said she got something completely different. So I would suggest uh, go through the PYQs and go through those history questions. Apart from that, you can refer to CBSE history books, because they touch on the surface on the history of India. So that I feel would be helpful. But again, don't rely on GK for marks.
Okay. And what is your say on it, Bhakti?
I feel that there's this subject in CBSE, the Indian art history. The textbook that they have is really helpful. I remember two of the questions were from that textbook itself. So please go through that textbook. And CBSE also gives an option of the fashion design subject in some schools. So they have a completely separate textbook for fashion design also in 11th and 12th grade. So if you have time, please go through that also, because that is also very helpful, because fashion theory can be asked in GK.
Okay. Okay. From where did you learn the pencil color rendering apart from BRDS, like YouTube tutorials or by own Bhakti?
I used to do it myself. मतलब मेरे सामने what I could see, I would do it. I wouldn't do it technically. मतलब light sources from here, so shadow should be here. No, I what I saw, that's what I did. But I think YouTube does have many tutorials as well. So if you can't understand, you can always go through them. You have that resource available. And BRDS 11 standard, the foundation books. The books also have step-by-step process on how to render the light and shadows. So you can also go through that.
Okay. They both had humanities in 10 plus 2. So both of them had humanities. Mm, okay. Any YouTube channel you referred, Mrugnani?
I didn't follow any YouTube tutorials as such. I only followed for solutions for PYQs if I didn't understand the questions, the kind of questions they were asking, or what kind of answer they want. Then I would go on YouTube and search for solutions. Otherwise, I didn't use any YouTube tutorials.
Okay. And what scale was allowed in the entrance exam? Scale. Normal ruler. It was
Um,
allowed in the entrance exam?
I didn't think they checked, but
yeah, I don't think they checked.
yeah.
Okay. So yeah,
But
it was
do but the ideal proportion would be to carry a smaller scale because you don't have that much space for working. You can't
okay.
spread your materials out. I saw people putting their all of their materials on the floor and being in a frenzy key. How do I work with this much space and so much material? And to avoid just use smaller scales even while practicing your models.
Okay. Stationery should be less. Uh, okay. Isha. So which campus they are studying? Bhakti is doing fashion communication from NIFT Mumbai. Mrugnani is doing fashion designing from NIFT Delhi. Okay, Dia. Okay, so you both give NID and UC exam as well. Mrugnani, you give both the exam.
I gave NIT, I didn't give UC'd.
Okay, and what about you, Bhakti? You gave
I
both.
gave both. Yes.
Okay, so how was your experience in NID?
Uh, because NID was the first exam that we gave, mine did not go well. I scored good, but I couldn't clear the first round. UC comparatively went better. I cleared the first round and I also got a good rank, I would say. I prefer not to go to IIT, but because I wanted to do Nift as my first priority. So yeah.
Okay, and what about your paper for NID, Mrugnani? How was it?
My the only thing that I would change is time management because even though I do to a very great extent believe NID in terms of questions is easier than NIFT, but because of the magnitude of questions they ask so many questions and they only give 2 hours for drawing. Students are not able to complete the questions. My intention was never to go to NID. I wanted to do NIFT, so I gave NID as a part of exam experience. That's why I gave exam for all private universities. But it went well. I didn't clear it, but it went well. It
Okay,
certainly gave me an idea of the kind of questions that they can ask.
okay. For backup also, you filled the form for private colleges, both of you?
Yes.
You both have filled. Okay. Any question you feel like you want to answer?
I
Yes, your
can't
question
see
is
the questions, ma'am.
so previous year question is available to students. 10 years paper you will get on your learning management system portal, and books are also there. So both the ways you can get the questions. 4 at least, Rishika. Okay, if you are not able. Okay, for Bhakti for drawing CAT part, do you remember any questions students want to ask? Any question you remember?
Yes, the first question was that we had to create a light source, if I'm not wrong. For they had options like embroider, a book reader at night, and I don't remember the third question, the third option, but we had to create a light source for them. The second was it was all about rendering. So we were given three options and then we had to uh, create a image, a point of view for that, and how that would look. It was all about just rendering. That's what they asked. And the third, as I mentioned, we were given a rectangle and we had to create a pattern in 3 by 3 squares. So that's 9 inches, 9 inches by 9 inches. And we were given three options. One was inspired by food. The second one was inspired by the Paris Fashion Week. And the third option, I don't remember it well, but that's
Japanese Zen gardens or something.
yes, the Jen Garden.
Japanese. Okay, okay. So these were the questions. Pariti is asking, can she carry tissue paper in the exam?
Yes.
Yes.
And they will not say no. She get messed up with her work. Okay. So this was all about the question that I can see. The CAT part practice is something you can do. You can ideate yourself. They have already talked a lot about it. Okay. You have given UC exam. Maths is different from other exam like NID and IFT. You maths.
You see, maths is much more complicated because it's not direct maths. It is as a gol ghuma ke they ask the question. The concepts are the same.
Okay.
The
Okay.
concepts are the same, so what you study will be same, but in UCD you have to think more about how to solve the question. There are a few chapters that UCD have which are more than the NIFT. UCD comparatively is difficult if you don't practice, but solving UCD ke previous year papers will also help a lot. I feel like this year's UCD paper had more theory than maths. So just don't focus on maths also for UCD.
Okay. So you have to focus on each and every part for
Yes.
UC. UC separate classes are going on for all the BRDS students, so you can attend them. And if you don't want to also give UC exam, please attend it. It can be very helpful. In the last interaction, also students said that it can be helpful for other exam. Hard level आ जाएगा तो easy तो definitely you can do. So definitely.
I was one of those students who attended the classes, but I didn't give the exam. And I would definitely recommend it because it वो perspective पूरा अलग हो जाता है because the questions that they ask, I'm particularly talking about drawing, they're so long and so precise that you have to add every single detail into your drawing. So it's very good.
It's very good and
I would
effective.
recommend it.
If you are getting the classes, why not to join? Evening hours है, school के बाद है, and there are just 12 to 14 sessions only. But if new seed नहीं भी देना है, please give that time and attend the class. Right now, it's going on. So yeah, this was all about today's interaction. Thank you, Bhakti and Ragnani. It was great having you here. So overall, how was your experience interacting? So students, can you please switch on your videos so एक बार देख लें ये लोग किस कौन कौन था. Now they don't like switching on videos. Thank you. So if you are attending online class and you are not getting because you are not keeping your videos on, so any last minute message both of you to the students, Brugnani and Bhakti. Brugnani first.
I would say again, just don't freak out. It is that is the last thing that you should do because you have put in the hours, you have ideated, you want this, and you will achieve it if you really want this. Someone asked me, calculator allowed hai ki nahi? No, calculator isn't allowed.
So yes,
Uh,
in the admit card of all the exams, NIT, UCEED and NIFT, admit card में उन्होंने लिखा हुआ होगा कि क्या क्या मटेरियल आपको ले जाना है, वही मटेरियल they will allow you to take. उसके अलावा you cannot take anything. So admit card जब भी आते हैं, read your admit card properly. उसमें हर एक detail mentioned होगी. So yes, Nurtani, you were saying something.
so don't freak out. And one thing that has helped me a lot is I have, during the entire process of this preparation period, I've talked to like 50, 60 seniors and graduates from NIFT, talking to them about their experience, what I should do, people who are alumni of Lift, who gave their exams 10 years ago. And I've talk to them, and it really helps because you get such a variety of you get a lot of advice from everyone who's been through it. And I feel like talking to students who've given the exam, who've actually been through it, is sometimes more helpful than interacting with anyone else. And so just talk to people, look at your surroundings, and constantly have that in your head कि मुझे जाना है, मैं करूंगी, हो जाएगा, I don't have to worry. And follow us on our socials, because anyone who wants to ask questions, I'm always open to answering, because I've nagged so many people ki help me, I need this help. I've talked to so many Mumbai seniors, so many Delhi seniors, and I would love to be that person for someone. So follow us on our socials.
Yeah, you can say your ID, Mrugnani, if it's comfortable. Your Insta ID.
It's MRUGNAYNII.
Okay. And Bhakti, last minute message to everyone.
Just be confident because you need to remember that you have worked for it. It's ऐसा नहीं है कि आज सोचा एग्जाम देने और कल दे रहा है. You are preparing for it. So you know the basics. Be confident because last minute में you might think that you're not enough, but it's not like that. You know everything, and Nift is comparatively easier, if I may say. It's easier for you to work on it. So even in the CAT, the questions are very direct. It's just that you have to think different from what others are doing.
Mm, true. So thank you very much. Thank you. You want to share your Insta ID, Bhakti?
I am not very active on social media. Like even if you message me on Instagram, I would read like ek do din ke baad. But you can have my email ID. I do reply to mails a lot. So it's Thakkar Bhakti, THAKKAR BHAKTI 28 @gmail.com. I would reply to you. You can even text me on that Google messages via the email IDs. Social media, I'm not very active. I'm so sorry. But
Okay, that's fine. I am also not active. So that's fine. So you can ask them questions. Thank you very much, both of you. It was great interacting with you and hope you enjoy your time in NIFT and all the best. Just you have just started 2 months, more to go, 4 years you are there. Enjoy your time. This will be the best time of your life. I'm sure about it. So thank you, both of you. Thank you for being there.
thank you, ma'am, for
Thank
inviting.
you so much. Thank you so much.
Have a good day. Bye bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye